when Joe Biden steps down, there's going to be an outpouring of affection for him.
Absolutely.
Because it will be one of the most selfless things we have ever seen from an American president. It is literally impossible to imagine Donald Trump or Barack Obama or George W. Bush or Bill Clinton or any of those guys looking around at the world and saying, it's better without me at this moment. Hello, everyone. This is JVL here with my best friend, Sarah Longwell, publisher of the Bulwark. It is Friday, July 5. We are back from the most joyous Independence Day ever. Because, you know, the last one is always the sweetest one. And so Sarah and I are here early on Friday morning, and we don't do this often. But we're doing this show for us. This is a Sarah and JVL need to have a little therapy session and get some stuff off of our chest. It's going to be self-indulgent. And so just, if that's going to bother you, you don't have to listen to this one. We'll catch you next week. We'll do deep dives on news and stuff. But you know, it's been a week. Boy, has it been a week. And we have been taking, I would say, not abuse, but a fair amount of criticism from both people out in the world and from many of our subscribers and even like really close email and correspondence and friends. And I don't know. I just feel like we should be able to talk about that a little bit.
Let's do it. I would like to talk about it.
All right, let's have our bitch fest. So I don't know. Do you want to start? Do you want me to start? What's on your mind?
So I guess I'll start with the piece that I feel the most committed to writing, which is entitled, "Which is the real fantasy politics?" Like, who's really playing fantasy politics? Okay? Because one of the criticisms that I've been getting that is specific to me for people who listen is that I accuse you on the semi-regular of playing fantasy politics. And one of the things that people have really internalized from the campaign's messaging is that there is no way under the sun for there to be a candidate other than Joe Biden.
Yes.
And that so I'm saying, Sarah, next time you tell JVL that he's playing fantasy politics, I'm going to remember this. You suggesting that somebody else besides Joe Biden could be the president or could run. And I think that the bigger fantasy in this case is not the actual mechanisms that do truly exist in the event that a presidential candidate cannot run. I think the fantasy is looking at an 81-year-old Joe Biden, who by all accounts, and listen, I think that it's going to be a long time before we all really know sort of what happened. And I'm not just going to rely on the, Olivia Nuzzi story about how since January she's been sort of doing this piece on his decline. The fact is, among donors, among people who've seen him, the evidence of it seems like a quickening decline. You can still maintain that a year ago or, that maybe at that point he could have run again. But like, the thing about getting older is it doesn't stop, right? It only goes in one direction. And I think that the real fantasy, and I actually think the real people who are suggesting, there's this genre of bucking people up that is just like, grab your sword and shield and let's go fight. And people are like, yeah, brave.
And my axe. Yeah.
But you know what? That part is the fantasy, guys. The fantasy, and I got to tell you, the number of people I have seen say things like, the polls are wrong, focus groups are stupid, the media is corrupt, the moderators guys, you cannot ignore all available data. That's all we're doing out here in the world, right? We're trying to collect data to make decisions. Stakes are super high, so we're trying to make our best decisions. So if you decide that you're just going to ignore all available data, you're going to ignore what the voters say, okay. You're going to ignore what the polls say, okay. You're going to ignore it all. But then you are the one playing fantasy politics, that you can march into a general election with Joe Biden in a diminished state. Because here's the thing, guys. JVL just said it's been a week. Okay, it's Friday.
1 week.
It's been 1 week. Joe Biden hasn't done anything to disabuse people of the central. His team hasn't had him out here, hasn't had him out there. And so
he's done a couple scripted events, right? Short scripted events, a couple calls, right? So there was a donor meeting, there was a campaign all staff call, there was his SCOTUS reply, his North Carolina rally, and there's one other. The Democratic Governors Associate, right? He met a bunch of Democratic governors.
Governors went in there and talked to him. Like, these are not public, unscripted events.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to underline your point here.
Yeah.
That he is not like at 3 Waffle Houses a day and doing town halls. And then he's going to sit down with George Stephanopoulos tonight. I'll be very interested to see how long that interview is, because I can promise you that Stephanopoulos will go absolutely as long as the White House allows Biden to go.
Yeah. So it's a 15-minute interview or a half-hour interview. And like, this is the thing. Biden has to campaign relentlessly. He is behind. Yeah. He has been behind. We have a political dynamic right now where people want change. People want future. I mean, you can say, why aren't we talking about Project 2025, which is like a big part of the responses I'm getting, which, by the way, guys, Project 2025, it is deeply chilling and scary. It is also not the kind of thing that you can talk about to voters. Now, you can say to voters,
it's process.
God, it is. If you say to voters, Donald Trump wants to fire a bunch of people in the government and replace them with his own people, people are like, yeah, that's what presidents get to do. Yep. I ask people this all the time. Nobody, that is, you are in the weeds for American voters. I just think that there is a level of criticism, and it's being led by, the thing is they're looking to people, right? So people are doing this thing, like, we're canceling our subscription, and they're like, we're going to go listen to the people who are telling us the things we want to hear, which, by the way, guys, that is not our job. Like, we are not never Trumpers because we are ready to have audience capture and like fall in line and just do what everybody wants. Like, our whole point, literally the whole point of the Bulwark, is to tell you the truth. To tell you what we believe the truth is, the world as we see it. And if you just want someone to tell you all the things you want to hear, like, by all means, there are people who will do it for you. A lot of those people are doing it because they know, like, this is we are being accused of like doing this for clicks. Okay. It's just like Republicans who are like, you guys are grifters. You did this. Yes. We started an online magazine so we could all become trillionaires.
That was it.
That hasn't broken even yet. Like, what? The level of accusations about our motives, whereas there are plenty of people for whom they understand, just like Trump understood. They understood there's an audience that wants to be told things, and so they're willing to tell it to them. And like, cool, those are the people telling you the polls are wrong, don't listen to focus groups, just go grab just get on your horse. And JVL, part of what drives me crazy too is like the people who are accusing us of stuff must never listen to us, because they either don't know that you're Joe Biden's literal biggest fan, right?
I got that in the comments section on Next Levels. Like, why don't you ever say one nice thing about Joe Biden? I was like, you don't read my newsletter, do you?
I mean, I don't read your newsletter, and even I know you're Joe Biden's biggest fan. Or like the people who are like, you guys are in it for Trump. I mean, what kind of long game do you think we're capable of playing? Yes. We quit our jobs, left our entire original careers, lost a bunch of friends, because ultimately what we really wanted to do was help the fascists. And we're not helping the fascists by telling the truth. You are helping the nefarious forces when you lie to people.
I mean, there are two things. First of all, on the question of like helping Trump, people are like, every time you criticize Biden, you're helping Trump. No, Trump wants to run against Biden right now.
Absolutely.
There's a story in Axios about this morning. The Trump people are dying. Why do you think Trump has been radio silent for a week for the first time in his life, as if he was dead? He's been quieter now than he was when he was in the hospital with COVID.
Yeah.
And it's because he really wants to run against Biden. But also, take the value judgment aside, like, what should or shouldn't happen. Joe Biden is going to withdraw from this race. That is a thing that is going to happen. And I'm just like, I'm telling you that that's what's going to happen. And people are like, oh, but he said in front of the DGA that, that he was in it to win it. I'm like, oh my God, a politician said that things were going well when they weren't and that they were going to do something that they couldn't. No, this is how these things work.
Yeah.
Right. Biden is going to, of his own volition. Well, I mean, even if he's, coerced into it by party elders, not coerced, but talked into it by party elders, there's not going to be a hostile takeover at the convention where delegates start flipping and Gavin Newsom rides in and says, I challenge you, Joe Biden. Joe Biden is going to look at the world, as he already, by all reports, seems to be doing already, in realizing that the reality has changed around him. And for the good of the country and the good of the party, he's going to step aside. That is going to happen. And I'm sorry, people are like, why didn't you wait a week to tell us that was going to happen? I'm like, I'm sorry that I saw this before everybody else. I don't know what to tell you. That's my job. My job is to see around corners here. And, it.
But yeah, no offense to your Svengali-like skills, but also, if he was up to it, he'd be out there.
Right.
Like, the evidence, we have it. People think we don't have the evidence. What, we're going to wait for the choreographed George Stephanopoulos? No, we have the evidence we need.
Hey, Sarah, there's more show.
Oh, there is?
Yeah.
Are we still talking? We have more talking?
We're still talking. The talking goes on. But that's only for the people who are inside the Velvet Rope, the Bulwark Plus members.
Oh, they got to subscribe.
Yeah, tell them to subscribe. Tell the people,
You should subscribe,
Sarah.
Guys. Why wouldn't you subscribe? You get all kinds of things. You get some extra me and JVL. You get some extra me and George Conway. You get JVL's Triad. It's one of the best things the Bulwark offers. I read it at least once or twice a week.
Yes. Go and subscribe. We'd love to have you.